welcome back to the deep dive. So you know how you sent us that blog post a while back, the Redefine Yourself, 20 habits that can change your life. One, from lovinglife.com.
Yeah, I remember. Back in August, right?
August 17th, to be exact. And you know what really struck me about it? Well, it's not like Loving Life are just, armchair philosophers about this stuff. They actually run workshops, like real-world, get-your-hands-dirty workshops all about habit formation for well-being.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's not just theory with them. They're actually out there helping people put these ideas into practice.
Exactly. And that's why I thought this deep dive would be so cool. We're not just going to, list off these 20 habits.
Yeah, that wouldn't be very helpful, would it?
No, not at all. We want to get to the heart of it, you know? What are the core principles behind these habits, and how can we, you, our listeners, actually weave them into your lives without feeling overwhelmed? We're looking for those aha moments, the stuff that can really spark some change.
I like that.
Yeah.
So where do we start?
Well, let's jump right in. The blog kicks off with a section called The Mindful You.
Okay, makes sense. Mindfulness is kind of the foundation for a lot of personal growth work these days, isn't it?
Totally. And the first habit they talk about is, practicing mindfulness. They make this point that, we live in this crazy world.
Oh, tell me about it. Constant demands, information overload.
Right. And mindfulness is about saying, okay, stop. For just a minute, I'm going to focus on right now, on this moment. And I'm not going to judge myself for whatever thoughts or feelings pop up.
It's about being fully present without all the baggage, right?
Exactly. And the benefits they highlight. Inner peace, less stress, feeling more resilient emotionally. I mean, who wouldn't want a piece of that?
Seriously. And what I like is they don't make it sound complicated. They're like, start with 5 minutes a day, find a quiet spot, focus on your breath, just observe your thoughts and feelings as they come and go. No judgment.
That no judgment part is huge, isn't it? Because that's where we get stuck, right? Overthinking, beating ourselves up.
Totally. Mindfulness helps you break free from that cycle. You start to see your thoughts as, like clouds passing by, not these solid, unchanging truths.
I love that analogy. Okay, so we've got mindfulness. What's next under the mindful you?
Daily journaling. And this isn't like your teenage diary with a lock and key.
Definitely not. Loving Life presents journaling as this powerful tool for self-discovery, a way to track your growth over time and really get to know your own emotional landscape.
Yeah, and they mentioned some other cool stuff too, like it might help boost your memory and even improve your communication skills because you're getting better at articulating your thoughts.
Makes sense. If you can get it clear in your head, you can probably explain it better to someone else too. What's their advice on actually starting to journal?
Simple. Grab a pen and paper, or I guess your laptop if that's your thing, and just write. For a few minutes each day, whatever's on your mind, thoughts, feelings, ideas, reflections on the day, whatever, no rules.
No pressure, just honest self-expression. I dig it. Okay, next up is practicing deep breathing. This feels like one of those things we all know is good for us.
But we don't actually do it, right?
Exactly. Loving Life calls it an immediate go-to for stress relief. It calms your nervous system down, helps you focus, and just generally feel more at peace.
And there's a real physiological basis for that too. Like that slow exhale, it actually triggers your parasympathetic nervous system, the one that counteracts the whole fight or flight response.
So it's not just a mental trick, it's actually changing things in your body.
Wow.
And how do they recommend incorporating deep breathing?
Whenever you feel overwhelmed, they say, just pause. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a second, then exhale slowly and fully. Do that for a couple of minutes or even make it a daily habit, like a preventative measure instead of waiting for the stress to hit.
Love that. Being proactive about your well-being. Okay, last one under the mindful you is cultivating gratitude. Now, we hear a lot about gratitude these days.
Oh, yeah, it's everywhere. But Loving Life goes beyond the surface level,
Right.
They're not just talking about saying thank you. It's about developing this whole mindset of appreciating the good in your life.
It's about intentionally shifting your focus, right?
Yeah.
From what you lack to what you have.
Exactly. And the benefits are pretty amazing. They talk about better mental health, more empathy, less aggression, better sleep, even more resilience, and overall life satisfaction.
That's a pretty compelling list. So how do we actually start cultivating more gratitude?
They keep it super simple. Notice the small positives in your day. Keep a gratitude journal. Maybe list 3 things you're grateful for each night. And make a point of expressing your appreciation to others.
It's about training yourself to see those little blessings, right? The everyday things that we often take for granted.
Absolutely. Okay, so that's the mindful you wrapped up. Ready for the next section.
Hit me in it.
the healthy you.
Ah.
And the first habit here might make some people cringe a little. Cold showers.
Ooh, that's a bold one. I'll admit, I'm not a fan of the cold myself. But Loving Life does a good job of explaining the potential benefits.
Right. Increased alertness, better mood, good for your skin and hair. They even say it can boost your immune system. They even quote Wim Hof, the Iceman himself. He says, a cold shower a day keeps the doctor away.
Okay, that's pretty convincing coming from him. So how do they recommend easing into this invigorating habit?
Gradually, thankfully. Start by just adding like 15 seconds of cold water at the end of your regular warm shower. Then slowly increase the time as you get used to it.
Baby steps. I can get behind that. What's next under the healthy you?
Regular exercise. This one's a bit less shocking, I think.
Yeah, pretty universally recognized as good for you. But it's always good to have a reminder, right?
Totally. Loving Life hits all the key points. Better physical health, more energy, improved mood, even helps you live longer.
And their advice on getting started is super accessible. You don't need a gym membership or anything. Just start with walks or some simple at-home exercises. Find something you enjoy and can stick with.
That's key, right? It shouldn't feel like a chore. Find an activity that brings you joy.
Absolutely. Speaking of things that bring joy, or at least should, healthy eating.
Ah, yes, you are what you eat. That old chestnut.
But it's true, though. Loving Life emphasizes just how powerful our food choices are, not just for our physical health, but our mental state, too.
And I love how they frame it. It's not about restriction and deprivation, but about fueling your body with good stuff. They talk about increased energy, better mood, and overall improved health.
It's about nourishing yourself from the inside out. And again, their advice is very practical. Add a fruit or veggie to each meal. Try some new recipes. Make gradual, sustainable changes.
Much more approachable than a crazy crash diet.
Yeah.
Okay, last one under the healthy you is one that a lot of us struggle with, I think. Maintaining a regular sleep schedule.
Tell me about it. When life gets busy, sleep is usually the first thing to go.
Right. But Loving Life really drives home how crucial sleep is. They put it right up there with diet and exercise for overall health. And they don't sugarcoat the effects of sleep deprivation either. Impaired thinking, mood swings, weaker immune system. It's that pretty.
No, it's not. But on the flip side, sticking to a regular sleep schedule has huge benefits. Better memory, more focus, less stress, even a more positive mood. It's amazing what a good night's sleep can do.
So true. And their advice. It all comes down to consistency. Go to bed and wake up around the same time each day, even on weekends if you can. Create a relaxing bedtime routine, maybe read, take a bath, limit screens before bed, make your bedroom a sleep sanctuary.
It's about setting yourself up for sleep success, right?
Mhm.
Making it a priority.
Exactly. Okay, moving on. Next section is the connected you. This one focuses on relationships and how we interact with the world around us.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the first habit in this section?
It's a simple one. Socialize. It might seem obvious, but in our busy, often isolated lives, it's easy to neglect our social connections.
Yeah, we get so caught up in our own little bubbles.
Right. And Loving Life reminds us that humans are social creatures. We need connection. And strong, positive relationships bring so many benefits. They talk about better mental and physical health, more happiness, even living longer, plus that essential emotional support when things get tough.
And on the other hand, social isolation can be really damaging, right? It's not just about having fun, it's a core need. So how do they suggest we get better at socializing?
They encourage us to make a conscious effort to connect with at least one person each day. It could be a phone call, a coffee date, even just a good conversation with a family member. And they also suggest joining clubs or groups, volunteering, things that expose you to new people and shared interests.
And they emphasize quality over quantity, right? A few deep connections are more valuable than a ton of superficial ones.
Definitely. Okay, second habit under the connected you is spending time in nature.
I feel like we all know we should do this more.
We do. And Loving Life really highlights the amazing effects nature has on us. It reduces stress hormones, improves mood, even helps us think better. And of course, it's usually a fun way to get some exercise too.
So many wins. So how do they recommend getting more nature into our lives?
Be intentional about it.
Yeah.
Schedule it in even. Go for walks in the park, hikes in the woods, maybe do some gardening, have a picnic outdoors, and really immerse yourself. Disconnect from your phone and all the demands of daily life.
That intentional disconnect is so key, isn't it? It's not just about being physically in nature. It's about being mentally present there, too.
Totally. Okay, ready for the next section? The organized and intentional you.
Bring it on.
All right, the first habit here is setting clear goals. This is like the foundation for any kind of personal growth journey.
It's about having a roadmap, right? Knowing where you're going and how you're going to get there.
And that sense of direction, Loving Life says, it gives you motivation, helps you measure your progress, and boosts your self-confidence. They also talk about how actively working towards goals builds discipline and helps you stay focused.
And there's nothing like that feeling of accomplishment when you actually achieve a goal, right? No matter how big or small.
Totally. It fuels you to keep going.
Yeah.
And their advice on setting goals aligns with the whole SMART framework. Make sure your goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Write them down, review them regularly, and adjust as needed.
Love that. Goals shouldn't be set in stone. Life changes, and so do our aspirations. Okay, what's the next habit in this organized and intentional section?
Learning something new. I love this one. It's about being a lifelong learner, staying curious and engaged with the world.
I feel like that keeps us young, mentally speaking.
It totally does. And Loving Life talks about how it keeps your mind sharp, opens up new perspectives, even makes you more adaptable and creative.
All good things. So how do they suggest we incorporate more learning into our lives?
First, find something that truly interests you. It could be a language, a musical instrument, a new subject area. Anything. Then dedicate some time each week to actively exploring it. Take a class, read books, listen to podcasts, whatever works for you. The key is to engage actively, not just passively absorb information.
It's about making it a part of your life, not just a one-time thing. Okay, last one under the organized and intentional you is prioritizing personal growth.
This one feels like a big umbrella, encompassing a lot of the other habits we've talked about.
It's about becoming the best version of yourself, right? Whatever that means for you.
Exactly. It's an ongoing journey of self-discovery and improvement. And Loving Life suggests setting specific personal growth goals, like learning a new skill, reading more, practicing mindfulness, improving your emotional intelligence. They also encourage stepping outside your comfort zone, seeking feedback, and being open to new ideas.
It's about challenging yourself and embracing the process of growth, rather than striving for some kind of perfect end state.
So well said. Okay, we're in the home stretch now. Next section is the balanced and self-aware you. This one focuses on inner well-being and how we relate to the world around us.
Sounds good. What's the first habit?
It's a popular one, practicing self-care. It's become a bit of a buzzword, but Loving Life emphasizes how crucial it truly is.
It's not just about bubble baths and face masks, is it?
No, it's about consciously taking care of your physical, emotional, and mental health. It's about building resilience, boosting your self-esteem, and developing a healthy relationship with yourself.
And their advice on incorporating self-care is pretty simple. Make time for yourself each day. Do something you enjoy. Maybe it's a quiet cup of tea, a walk in nature, reading a book, whatever fills your cup.
They even mention a blog post of theirs about self-care activities for team meetings. It shows you how self-care can be integrated into all aspects of your life.
It's about making it a priority, not an afterthought. Okay, next up is learning to say no. This is a tough one for a lot of people, myself included.
It's so hard, right? But Loving Life makes a great point. Saying yes to everything can lead to burnout, resentment, and just a general feeling of being overwhelmed.
We end up sacrificing our own needs to please others.
Exactly. Learning to say no is about setting boundaries and respecting your own time and energy.
It's about recognizing your own worth. So how do they recommend getting better at saying no?
They say, before you automatically say yes to any request, pause. Ask yourself, does this align with my priorities? Will this negatively impact my self-care or my schedule? And if the answer is no, then it's perfectly okay to politely decline. They emphasize that saying no to others can often be a way of saying yes to yourself.
I love that reframing. It takes the guilt out of it. Okay, next habit is one that's very relevant in our digital age.
Yeah.
Limiting screen time.
This one's huge. Loving Life talks about how, even though our devices can be helpful and convenient, they can also be major barriers to connection and self-care. They mention all the negative effects of excessive screen time, from eye strain and bad posture to anxiety and sleep problems.
It's all about finding a healthy balance with technology, right? So how do they recommend managing our screen time?
They suggest setting screen-free periods throughout the day, like during meals or before bed. Maybe explore apps that track your screen time and help you set limits. And most importantly, be more mindful of your tech usage. Make conscious choices rather than mindlessly scrolling.
It's about taking back control rather than letting technology control us. Okay, last one in this section is unplugging regularly. This seems like taking screen time management to the next level.
It is. It's about intentionally disconnecting from all the noise and stimulation of the digital world. Loving Life explains that this can help us relax, recharge, and reconnect with ourselves.
It's about giving ourselves permission to just be without all the external inputs. So how do they suggest we unplug more effectively?
Start with daily digital-free windows, like during meals or in the hour before bed. Then gradually extend those periods. Maybe try a longer digital detox over the weekend. Use that time for things that truly replenish you, like reading, creating something, spending time with loved ones. Embrace the quiet.
In a world that's constantly urging us to go, 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 that